Today's presentation is primarily about a park designed by our team from the theme of urban greening. This park was born out of the integration of urban heat, active transport, and social connection that we have been seeing in Greenstone. Today's presentation will be divided into four main parts. First, why we designed this park, which is referred to our literature review. What issue needs to be noticed in our design, which is referred to site analyze, and what plan we have made for the final design, which is about the detail of city planning and regulation context. And the final is the presentation of our final design. So let's start with Bronn.
Extreme living issues such as urban heat island effect, anxiety, diseases, and social disconnection are endangering the health of human beings. Urban green space is a natural strategy to mitigate these problems as it generates cooling effects and provide opportunity for social reconnection and physical activities. Next page. Through the process of rapid urbanization and the use of dense dark color building materials have resulted in the urban heat island effect, where urban areas are significantly hotter than surrounding rural areas, in some cases by up to 10 degrees. Urban green spaces are constructed as a feasible strategy to effectively reduce urban heat island effect through the process of transpiration, where plants absorb water from their roots and the water then turns into water vapors. Research has confirmed that average cooling extent reached 1.65 degrees at the cooling range of 120 meters. Next page. Urban green spaces can also act as green transportation. This can be achieved by urban greenways, which is a series of green public spaces connected by a network of well-designed walking and cycle paths, local green streets, or public transport roads. Benefits of engaging with green spaces is that daily car or bus travel distance is reduced by 18% and 21% less carbon emissions is generated per day. The NCD risk, which caused by physical inactivity, is also reduced. And research has shown that park users are 35% more likely to achieve the Active Australia Physical Activity Guidelines. Next page. Informal social encounters is enabled in public green spaces, which help city dwellers relieve from daily routine, reduce mortality risk, and support personal resilience. Physical characteristics such as presence of vegetation, distance from home, size of green spaces, and facilities can also largely impact the effectiveness of a green space. Next person.
Site analysis allows us to find the limitations and opportunity of the site and help us to identify issues before processing our design. Our site is located near the MacArthur Station, and the area of the project is approximately 2,000 square meters. Next page, please. In Sydney, the wind direction in the summertime is from the northwest, while the winter wind blows from the east-south direction. In the summertime, the sun rises at 5:45 a.m. and goes down at 7:40 p.m., whereas in winter, the sun rises at 6:45 a.m. and goes down at 7:40 p.m. Next page. The pedestrian flow clearly shows on this image, indicating the pathway from the train station to the university always has higher pedestrian flow compared to the main pathway. The sidewalk near the Uni Basin Reserve distributes the high pedestrian flow into two directions. Next page. Through the site analysis, three issues are identified. First of all, the urban heat issue. According to the SunPath analysis and personal experience, the non-ignorable issue of the site is the urban heat, which is a major concern of the urban planning and design process. Currently, there are only a few trees planted near the train station site and no trees planted near the pathway between the station to the site. Thus, our design is focused on how to cool this area by adding trees and shelters within the project area. Secondly, the analysis of pedestrian flow allows us to accurately implement the active transport within this area to separate the bikeway and pedestrian walk, further increasing the safety of the pedestrians. Last but not least, the social connection. It is really important to have a space where people can just sit together and talk, or even a playground for the kids. This facility helps people to relax whether they are waiting for the train or before they go into the uni. Next person, please.
For the urban planning part, this project is directly related to the overall strategic plan of the city and infrastructure planning. So in order to achieve this goal and prepare for possible change in this region, Urban Planning and Regulation Authority has adopted a number of different strategies, including current stance assessments, sustainable urban development planning, and environmental regulation, which helps department consider plans and allocate resources appropriately. The situation at this stage from the perspective of the strategies plan of the city. The analysis of the current situation of the region will become planning organ. At this stage, Lincoln has included the block plan in the guard plan for the northern part of Macarthur Garden North, with the main creation of the apartment block, public open space, and base community fiction. The apartment residential area will include 700 to 944 apartments. The urban certainty will include the number and age of population living in this assessment. The design of area within the park and the needs adapt to the changing needs and demographic within the area. Since Central Park, Presidential Street, and Bank Line has been established in the plan, the initial fiction of the target will be different from the plan's content in terms of interstruction and incorporate in the plan roads. The main part of environmental supervision include minimum green vegetation coverage, buildings heights, residential, and public resource supervision. The minimum green vegetation coverage is not only closely related to urban heat, but also involved in existing developer. Common goal is to have cities individually certificate as Green Star community by GBCA. Therefore, while protecting the existing green gardens, land route, and the Peace River forest, the park initial construction needs to maintain a minimum green vegetable coverage of 50%. The high limit of building can be achieved the maximum shadow maximum effect height in the sunlight level while meeting the minimum standard of park design, and the increasing of the mass index can be improved the urban heat to meet the design goal concept. Finally, the supervision of the public resource is maintained to support the sustainable development planning of the park. The use of the internet to achieve automatic collection and remote monitor of the public resource information in some areas. So up to the design part.
As shown in the picture, we chose a land of approximately 2,000 square meters to make a community park, which includes a children's paradise, basketball court, a tennis court, 2 white shelters, and 2 bicycle parking roofs. Next page. Various types of vegetation were planted in the community park for better reduction of heat. As shown in the picture, almost every field and roadside will have a row of trees, which will provide shade for people. In addition, we also considered a lot about the selection of tree types. On the riverside, we chose high Scots pine. This kind of tree is tall, but its shape is thin, so we planted it next to the narrow bicycle lane. We chose the black poplar around the facilities. This kind of trees have a high shape and the top branches are outward expansion. Furthermore, on both sides of the main road in the center of the park, we use the 3-color gradients to achieve the planting of jacaranda. Jacaranda is good for providing shades and also increasing attractiveness in blooming seasons. Next page. In order to increase social cohesion, we set up 3 fountains to attract people passing by the parks for rest and conversation. 2 of them are placed on both sides of the main entrance of the park, and the other is in the middle of the central avenue. Next page. We also set up 2 shelters in this park. Large ones are used for business or ordinary conversation and rest. We also set up a trailer dining car, which can be used to provide people with some simple food. The smaller one is placed between the tennis court and the children's paradise, where people can rest and watch tennis game or take care of their children at the same time. In particular, it noted that the top of the smaller shelter is not made of ordinary materials, but placed with soil and planted with flowers of different colors. Its meaning is to emphasize humans and nature. Next page. Additionally, the setting of the children's paradise will greatly improve the communication between people, not only between children and children, but also between parents and children, even between parents and parents. Next page. Finally, from the site visit, there are no sports fields nearby. Hence, in order to increase the physical activities of nearby residents, we specially set up a basketball court, tennis court, bicycle path along the river, and a stone path for walking in the park. These facilities can considerably mobilize people's enthusiasm for sports. That's all. Thank you.